next topic is net present value, NPV. First, let's define net present value, or NPV. So NPV is equal to the present values of the future free cash flows minus the initial cash outflow, the initial investment. So it measures the net value of the project in today's dollars. Based on our numerical example, we can see the net present value is the free cash flow discounted to get the present value, and then add these present values together and then subtract the free cash flow at time zero, the initial cash outlay, the FCF0. So using the numerical example, our first year free cash flow is $87,750. To discount that at 10% weighted average cost of capital opportunity cost, 87,750 divided by 1 plus 10%, and that should give us $79,772.73. And the second year's free cash flow, $95,250, discounted at 10% for 2 years, so divided by 1 plus 2%, raised that to the power of 2, and that will give us the present value of the second year's free cash flow, $78,719.01. Year 3's free cash flow is the same number, $95,250, divided by 1 plus 10%, raised that to the power of 3 because we need to discount it for 3 years. And that present value will be $71,562.73. Now, year 4's free cash flow, $148,250, divided by 1 plus 10%, raised that to the power of 4. So that will give us the present value, $1,256.70. And the initial cash outflow, $146,500, we subtract that from the sum of these present values. In total, we get the net present value, $184,811. We can also use financial calculator and Excel spreadsheet to calculate the net present value. By using the financial calculator, we need to use the function key CF, which stands for the cash flow registry. So first of all, let's press the CF registry key and then press the yellow second button and then look for clear work, which is at the bottom of the financial calculator, and press that. This will wipe out the memory of the financial calculator. So whatever you had input in the financial calculator before, now it's all cleared out. So after you press the second clear work, the screen of the financial calculator will ask you to enter a value for CFO. And here, that stands for the free cash flow at time zero, which is negative $146,500. So on the financial calculator, you need to type in the value first, 146,500, and then press the plus negative sign to assign a negative sign to this value, and then press the enter key. This is important. Without pressing the enter key, the financial calculator does not take in that value. So only by pressing the enter key, the financial calculator will accept that value. And now you can press the down arrow key to navigate, and that will move us to CO1, which is asking the first cash flow at the end of year 1. Now, at the end of year 1, we have a free cash flow, $87,750. So first, type in that value, $87,750, and then again, press the enter key to make the calculator accept the value. Once you enter the value for CO1, now, again, use the down arrow key to navigate, to move down. So press the down arrow key, you will see F01, which is asking you what is the frequency of the cash flow you just typed in. So F stands for the frequency. Now, F01 stands for the frequency of CO1, which is the 87,750. On our timeline, we see there's only 187,750 at the end of year 1. So the frequency of this cash flow is 1. So type in value 1 and then press the enter key to make the calculator accept that value. Now press down arrow. This will lead you to CO2, which is asking you what is the next free cash flow. On our timeline, our next cash flow is 95,250. So type in that value into the financial calculator. Make sure you press the enter key. Now press down arrow. This will go to FO2, which is asking you the frequency of the $95,250. Remember, in our example, we have 95,250 at the end of year 2. We also have the same number, 95,250 at the end of year 3, and they're right next to each other. So on the financial calculator, you can actually type in 2 as the value for frequency of 95,250. This will save you a step in the financial calculator. And you can only do this when the cash flow are the same and they're right next to each other, which is exactly the case in our example. So enter 2 as the frequency of 95,250. Press enter. Now press the down arrow key one more time. The financial calculator will ask you what is CO3, which is the next free cash flow. Now by typing 2 as the frequency of 95,250, we already accounted for the year 2's free cash flow and the year 3's free cash flow. So the next free cash flow we need to enter in the financial calculator is year 4's free cash flow. And that is a little tricky. Don't make a mistake on this one. So for CO3, that will be the 4th year's free cash flow, 148,250. Now press enter key and press down one more time. Now on the financial calculator screen, it is asking you what is CO4. Now we already out of cash flows. There are no more cash flows. So we need to skip this by press the down arrow key. The next screen, it will ask you what is the frequency. And again, we need to skip that because we're out of cash flows. Press down arrow one more time to skip that. And then we should be back to CFO, which is the negative $146,500 that we just typed in at the beginning. So now the calculator realized we're out of cash flows. What do we need to do now? Press the NPV key, the second row in the middle on the financial calculator. The calculator on the screen, it will ask you what is I, which is the weighted average cost of capital. Here, let's suppose the weighted average cost of capital, the cost of financing this project, is 10%. So type in 10, ignore the percentage, and then press enter to assign the value of 10 to I. And then you can either press the up arrow or the down arrow to go back to NPV, and then you should press the CPT, compute, to calculate the NPV of this project. That should give us $184,811. Now, how do we use the Excel spreadsheet to calculate the NPV? This is much easier. In any Excel spreadsheet, there should be a built-in function to calculate NPV. So in any cell, type in equal sign and then NPV, that's the built-in function to calculate net present value. In the parentheses, we need to assign the values to these parameters. The first parameter is for weighted average cost of capital, and that should be 10%. So 0.1 as the weighted average cost of capital, comma to separate. And then free cash flow 1 through 4. We need to enter all the free cash flows value, or in any Excel spreadsheet, you can type in these free cash flows and then highlight all those cells. So that'll be 87,750, 95,250, 95,250, and the 148,250. So close out the parentheses and remember, in the Excel built-in function NPV, it does not account for the initial cash outflow yet. So we need to subtract the free cash flow at time 0. So here, since our free cash flow at time 0 is already a negative value, negative 146,500, so all we need to do is to add this value after the NPV function in the Excel spreadsheet. And the result should be the same, so our NPV should be $184,811. Now, the NPV criteria. So once we calculated the NPV, $184,811, so what? What does that mean? Does it mean the project is good, or does it mean the project is going to lose money? Well, if the projects are independent projects, then as long as the NPV is positive, that project is profitable. So you should accept that project. However, not all the times we have independent projects, especially when we have limited resources, we can only invest in one of the projects. So with the mutually exclusive projects, how do we use the NPV to decide whether the project is profitable or is going to lose money? So if the projects are mutually exclusive, then whichever project has the highest NPV, that project should be accepted. And the other projects, even though their NPV could be positive, but as long as the NPV is lower than the highest one, then we should reject these projects because we only have limited resources to invest in one of them.